Darius as well. He did not see it coming. I mean, wow, these players are unbelievable today.
Yeah, they're a team playing with so much confidence, and it's not something that we've seen throughout the rest of the season. Now they're really turning up to 11 here for these major finals, and something that I really want to highlight and something that I think is super important. If you're a Pablo, Wingu, and Chino fan, you've got to be excited about this. If you're a Sky and Scroll fan, you've got to be a little bit wary. Is remember at the beginning of the show, we were talking about their game 3 yesterday. It was that wonky land zone. We said, yeah, that was the game when they didn't have a very good one. They got a 20th or something. We had a pretty much exact same zone right there, and look what they have done. They bounced back from that mistake that they made in that game 3 yesterday, and given pretty much the same circumstances, they get a 4th with 7 limb. So they've answered those questions we had for them at the beginning.
Oh, I just want to ask them so badly about how they prepared for everything last night and what they did with their time. But we don't have much time to even speculate about that. We've got to head to page number 2 because all eyes have to be on Swizzy and Pixie right now. They were 48th going into today. They've already scored 289 more points than they did yesterday, given that yesterday they ended on 24 points. This rise is astronomical. If they can repeat the performance of the last game 11, they're absolutely making top 10.
They ain't done yet. I'm telling you right now, they are not done yet. They're gonna keep on climbing. They have found their rhythm in this lobby. They have found that understanding. They have that connection. Everybody's bigging up against Swizzy's performances. We have seen Swizzy put on all-time great performances to win FNCSs in previous years, right? We know his ability to do that. Pixie again showcased why. As much as maybe he would have had a forgettable day 1, he's doing enough to keep them in it, keep the story going for them. And like I said, they're not done yet. They're going to finish in that top 10 if the things keep going like this.
Yeah, it almost fills with a little bit of disappointment. Sorry, Frankie. It's like, why didn't we see this yesterday? If we saw this yesterday, maybe we'd have it even closer to them at the top. It's like, why didn't they do this yesterday? But they're figuring it out now when it matters most for them on day 2. And hopefully these last 2 games can be great for them as well.
And everyone obviously wants to win a Major 1 title, but it means so much more to do it on LAN. And we know that these are 2 players that can get it done on LAN. Some players already tweeting that they've made it to Dusseldorf. But again, you cannot know what's decided until we have finished game 12. There's still 2 more games remaining. Let's get into game 11 with Taco and Takata.
Swizzy and Pixie have done more than just find their rhythm in day 2 of our Major 1 Grand Finals, Takata. These fellas might as well be hitting the bachata, okay? Because they are absolutely popping off, and it's so awesome to see this kind of resurgence and just them coming into form for what we know that their standard is typically at. But it's not easy to have that sort of mental bounce back. I think a lot of duos would definitely struggle when they're in that kind of position. And if anything, one thing that it does kind of remind me of is I remember, I want to say it might have been Chapter 5, but I believe Bucky Okus, when they went from 42nd to like 12th on NAC. Granted, NAC is obviously not EU, but I do think it's just cool to see duos that are able to overcome those kinds of depths.
It really is. I thought it was going to take longer to see Swizzy Pixie get to where they are now on the leaderboard, but I mean, they've solidified themselves in a great spot. The battle bus is ready. Let's head right on to game 11.
Things are starting to get very spooky right now, though, Takata. Game 11, Major 1 Grand Finals. Only 1 lobby left to go. So if there's anything, any kind of new strategies that duos might be wanting to experiment with, this is going to be one of their last possible efforts to bring it forth. But Sky Scroll, Chino, Pablo, what are you doing next to each other? Chino and Pablo, they want to take this for themselves. They're not leaving it up to fate. Who's going to be the first one down the hill? Sky beats them to the punch. Chino is down. Pablo is finished. Sky and Scroll win out with the surprise off-spawn contest.
Are you kidding me? We've seen this in the Invitational. We've seen this in various regions, but now to kick off 2026 in the EU FNCS Major Finals, Sky and Scroll are solidifying themselves in that first place. They do not want to let anybody shake them out of it. There was a bit of trouble in the last match, and now the second place team, Chino and Pablo, wanted to put themselves in that first place spot, but after Sky and Scroll have just won that fight, now Chino and Pablo, they are in a world of trouble.
This is our FNCS. That's all I'm thinking is running through the minds right now for Sky and Scroll. A message has been sent and delivered, stamped and confirmed. Pablo and Chino, that was going to be their best opportunity to try and close the gap. I don't think that it's going to be possible for them to run that back here in Game 12 because everything hinges upon whether or not Sky and Scroll have a dudded performance here today, Takada. And if we're basing it on this weekend, that's just not in the cards.
It's literally what has to happen, though. For Chino and Pablo, Sky and Scroll would have to go down before the end game. And like you mentioned, Taco, odds, it's not going to look like it will end up that way. Akira Karama actually switching up their strategy a little bit. They do land south of Frigid, but now they've decided to take an early rotate to Dark Dominion. They know how contested it's been. Hopefully, it doesn't mess up Swizzy and Pixie's strategy. I've just realized Swizzy did go down, though, so Pixie's left as a solo, now in a 1v2.
Akira Karama, this is also different sightseeing for this duo. They've had enough of the north portion of the map. It has not been working out for them. So they're going to play surprise contest, but it's just going to help out truly indirectly, truly taking shots now at Akira. Incredibly low on his shields, but Pixie being eliminated. At the end of the day, Swizzy and Pixie have done a lot to play catch up, but it is still so difficult to deal with those kinds of last minute surprises. Sharktini though, Huddy and Fishy were already outside of the qualification range, and with TD and Shark being in third place to kick off match lottery number 11,
that team not both two
it's no
lanes.
surprise that they look for the immediate 50-50. It is a nightmare scenario right now for Huddy and Fishy. Their hopes of land rest purely on how badly does Shark and TD want to keep them locked out of it. And Takada, it doesn't matter where Huddy Fishy try to go, Shark and Teeny are going to find them.
Yeah, they've got one thing in mind. Look, I know a first place finish is very great for the EU major finals, Shark Teeny being in third, but I think their priority is making sure that Huddy and Fishy do not make it to the Summit 1 major LAN over in Dusseldorf. And so far, it's looking like it might end up that way. Huddy Fishy were 25th going into this match, and now getting eliminated off spawn by Shark and Teeny. So many big changes. We're not even in the last match of the day. Now I've got so many things going on in mind. I mean, we've got the top 20 cutoff. Some teams just on the edge there. Noah Reason, Chat Flixie, Hari Kami, Skyjop Mumsy. We also have now Chino Pablo, hoping that Sky and Scroll might go down before the end game, but if that does not happen, the gap between first and second is about to skyrocket.
Repairs and Surefour though, Kiri. A couple of love taps into Repairs' shields. Still, they'll be able to look back. They don't get the opportunity to try and return the favor here. Repairs and Surefour called it at the start of the day, looking like a real dark horse contender here. I don't think many people, if anyone at all, would have really placed them into a top 5 leaderboard position. But here on day 2, they're looking to see just how much further they can really climb. Still realistic for them to possibly overtake Vico and Malabuka in that 4th place position yet again. Sky and Scroll though, man, what a start for this duo. They are so close to being our Major 1 finals champions. It's like you almost want to say it, but we still just have to see them fully flush it out. And while it is very, very likely, it's still one of those things where you never know what can go wrong next, because we've already seen teams kind of pivot their original strategies, testing out some new methods. Akira Karama is a great one to reference, because normally they've been heading a little bit south of that Frigid Fortress position, but Vico Malabuka already had some surge issues throughout the course of today, and now they have to keep trying to figure out how to revamp their own surge strategies, losing that possible opportunity for the French duo. Chat Flixie also kind of scurrying around the mountainside.
Yep, Flixie, say the best German player performance in 2025. Now they're just on the cusp of qualifying in 15th place. They have 261 points. But if they go down early, that could quickly turn around.
They're both just such competent fighters though. Chat Flixie dealing with the likes of Twek and Nidro. They've certainly not had the weekend that they would have wanted to, but experience is experience. At the end of the day, Chap lurking around, gets the big shot to start things off. Nidro made it closer than what he would like it to be, but Twek now from underneath, trying to see where he can Chop break through. Flixie and Chap, though, firmly driving this fight into their favor. And Flixie, Chap, they might still just want another 4 elimination points, and they might just find it onto Tweg. Doesn't really have anywhere left to run. Material count was running relatively low here. Gets a good side jump off onto Flixie. Jump shot to connect, but Chap still able to help seal the deal here. One more time, a couple of eliminations going to be confirmed. Kings of the Mountainside for right now.
Big early game for Chap and Flixie. That's what they needed. Yannis cheating. This is a duo that is a bit more comfortable. They are in the top 10, so they're in qualifying range now. Not much more to do, but they would like to obviously bump themselves up the leaderboard.
More importantly still, eager to represent their home country, home pride, right? It's Germans, knowing it's going to be Major One Summit Land in Dusseldorf. That home crowd, very likely to get pretty loud for those two. So they definitely want to make sure that they leave things on a positive note. For Shark and Teeny, though, think back to where Chap and Flixie were just at. There is a possibility that later on, Shark Teeny might actually end up clashing with those two a little bit later on, since they are so far north playing for the vending machines right now, but I'll have to just wait and see. O'Reilly and Reason, though, they've definitely had a much more volatile day, too. Even day one, gave them a run for their money. They still managed to overcome, and despite dealing with consistent off-spawns, they have managed to stay within that top 20 threshold. And obviously, you want to see 2 German icons in Dusseldorf repping at the LAN.
Issue is, before the previous match, they got 36th, 24th. The 7th place kind of bumped them up, but if they have another match where they don't make it into that end game, they can quickly fall short and not be in qualifying range any longer. So hopefully they don't have to take too many risks in this game.
I feel like the overall landscape of the map, though, had to change pretty drastically the moment that these players caught wind of Pablo and Chino being eliminated so early on, because that leaves Sandy Strip up for contention. So many other teams might have been able to take advantage of what's actually offered from that POI, and I think that's why we're seeing a little bit more of littering throughout. Battlewood Boulevard, even teams kind of just more willing to scavenge those southern sections of the map as they make their way through. Panzer, Yapko, gliding overhead. Calm before the storm, touching down where the rest of the lobby's at.
There's a team that lands close to Chino and Pablo, but seeing that they're just heading north already, we don't really know if they were able to kind of capitalize on that. One of the 3 duos opting for this rotate as well. Like you said, the calm before the storm, second to last match of the major. A lot of pressure on these players' shoulders.
They have had a decent weekend, still sitting in that 13th position, and currently with only 1 lobby left to work with here, Takata, it's pretty sensible to believe that teams that are within that top 13 should be pretty much confirmed for that Summit LAN qualification spot. But ultimately, you don't want to leave things up to chance. You don't want to be sitting on the sidelines. You want to make sure that you play out these lobbies as thoroughly as possible, because it's going to be the last 2 opportunities that all of these teams get. Teeny, Shark still lingering over by Wonky Land too, so when you think about teams like Yepco Panzer opting for those deep north side, dead side rotations, you gotta keep an eye out for where Shark and Teeny are getting up to. And honestly, Shark Teeny, I mean, think about the 2 wins that they've gotten, both 100+ point games, if I'm not mistaken, right? Just based off the additional elimination, basically 100-point games each time. And hey, you never know. Pablo Chino being taken out super early on. Sharktini, if they go for the hat trick, things could start to get a little dangerous for who's actually going to finish in that top 2.
That's what I was thinking. You know, they've got a big smile on their face. Everything's going well. They eliminated Fishy Huddy off spawn. No one have to worry about Wonky Land. And now the second place team that was right above them has gone down with 0 points. It's their perfect opportunity to overthrow them. Sure Repairs, another team in that top 5. They're trying to get above Vico Malabuka. Sayaz Scary yet to show us that they have what it takes to continue with their performance from yesterday. Now dropped to 8th. These players aren't even focused on qualifying to the LAN anymore. They're focused on getting the best placement possible.
For Size and Scary, compared to yesterday, it's kind of been a day to forget. Ever since that opening blow against Azat, losing the 1v2, it's definitely seemed like it's pretty much put so much hesitancy into how much confidence they really want to invest for some of these fights. I mean, we're just not witnessing the same duo that we did in yesterday's lobbies, but still definitely respect that performance they put in, because it's left them in a position where they don't have to be too pressed over today, because at least they know they've got the Summit Land locked in.
Looking over at what Thomas HD and Focus are up to. Thomas is known for his AR aim. It was actually Nebs. They've had such a tough day as well. Nebs and Nathan. I'm wondering if both players actually did end up going down after that. For Thomas HD and Focus though, they are sitting in 6th place right now. Good news for them, it's 5th and 6th. The gap is not nearly as much as it is from 3rd to 2nd or 1st. So they have a very good chance they can at least push themselves into top 4.
Did see just then though that leaderboard overview. Darm and Deemish, 7th place team, has been eliminated. They've been very key heavy in today's matches ever since they were able to pretty much confirm maintaining top 20, but hey, never want to bite off more than you can chew, especially when there's so many duos that are also still so hungry to see how many more placement points they can climb up. Learning points, learning pains, growing pains too for Darm Deemish here. But for Twy and Cringe, 51 below currently. Zone pool just outside Squibbly Shores. They're gonna be harassed now by some of these surge ticks. They've got Miro and Joshua on the other side of their builds, but can they force the engagement? I don't think they want to get up close and personal just yet. They'd rather see if they can just net a couple attacks from afar. It'd be much easier to work with than having to go for a 50-50 and risk placement against other teams. Burke will be isolated and brought down. That's a big break right now for Twy and Cringe.
I'm almost more scared for Hari and Cammy that are right beside them, considering that they're 19th right now. Right by the cutoff, but for Repairs and Sure, things were looking so bright in 5th place. The damage was there, but now Repairs is left as a solo, forced to close this game out alone. No heals, no shield, and just one overdrive grenade. This is really not where you want to be.
Might have just stayed a little bit too long inside that last zone. Sure, you get the surge you were looking for, finding the elimination, but ultimately teams that are already based in just better positions, kind of keeping Repairs at bay right now. He's gonna have to wait for the rest of the lobby to move first before he can even consider trying to depart his current box position. Twy and Cringe though, picking back up where they left off. And now there's a little bit of flow state happening here. Okay, another nice little elimination pick off there. All that matters right now is making sure that you stay above that surge threshold, but more elimination points never hurts.
No, it does not. Sky and Scroll, they've made it back now from the stressful early game that didn't really last too long. That pressure was quickly relieved. Vico Malabuka, 4th place right now. They're trying to push into the top 3. With the way Shark and Tini are looking though, it's gonna be tough. But so far they are looking to be managing Surge better than they have been in previous games. But you do have to be a little careful. being on the edge of zone. Now a very long rotate to go. Let's hope they can make it.
But it's Vico, Malabuka, Takada. When's their victory royale going to happen? This is a duo that I'm real surprised that we haven't seen them have at least one win throughout the matches that have taken place already here today. And don't get me wrong, top 5 obviously indicates that they've had relatively strong performances when they needed to, but I want to see them fully lock in. I want to see them convert an endgame into a victory royale. And I wouldn't hate to see it, better late than never after all, but for Sky and Scroll, just another elimination added to the pile. 3 in total, 558 above now, make that 566 for the Surge threshold. But the point is, they've got more than enough to work with. They're fully aware of where Ultimate High is at, and fortunately for us, they got a little look back, see poor Frenek trying to keep tabs on what's in front of him, never know what's coming from behind, and unfortunately, that was just too much pressure to deal with. A great collapse there by Sky and Scroll.
This is not what you want to see if you're Chino and Pablo right now. Even Sharktini, if they have a big match, it's going to put them closer and closer to that second place spot. That is not what Pablo and Chino want to lose. That's now 409 above, but you got to be careful. Both players instantly gone down in a blink of an eye. Shark and Teeny get eliminated by Cringe and Twy.
Shark and Teeny, they wanted to be set up for that front side of the zone, but sadly, that's just not going to go in their favor. The dangers of playing back side of zone when it pulls the opposite way is players that were a little bit late to the party being able to pick you up along the way. Hydro and Keto now taking advantage of their position on height. Good suppressive fire, good suppressive measures. Shots into Azet's over shield, but at the same time here, no knocks just yet. Got a good connection to their original surge point, but Malabuka, Vico, they're gonna send it. They want front side. Mid layer, torping through. Very adamant in keeping tabs on everything surrounding them. Vico now looking for some aggression onto Nero and Joshua. They find the first. Can they get the second? They might not need it after all, though. Content to just wait. That little bit of Cypher materials, that's exactly what they needed.
It's a big opportunity for Vico and Malabuka, though. Seeing that Shark and Teeny went down, it's their chance to get top 3 now. All they need is a decent match here. And for Sky and Scroll, they just want to keep expanding that gap between first and second. And if Scroll doesn't get caught off here, it looks like they're going to be able to manage it.
Keep an eye, though, on Cringe and Twy. They start scaling their way up the hill face. Sky, Scroll, if they're not careful, you never know. The floor above might disappear, and for Chapin, Flixie, Sayas, and Scary have managed to come knock in and collect. But look at Sky, Scroll. They were headed so deep into the storm. I think that they're looking for a Flowberry Mist Grenade. They're starting to tarp up. Height has no idea. They're not looking this far back into where the storm is at. Harko and Kire, another duo that's hurting, but Scroll and Sky, they're willing to send it. Frontside challenge onto Height. It's just not high enough, though. And they'll be forced to drop just a little bit, but the damage might have been done. Haruko and Kire had the same exact intentions. Focus, Thomas now gonna throw themselves up onto the high ground. Thomas won't be able to make it just yet, but he's waiting to reconvene with Focus. High ground is being sent into absolute shambles right now. Haruko's gonna be the first one to fall from it, but Noah, Riley, Reason, they've got business up top as well. Noah's gonna send it. One more overdrive grenade into the skies here, but he can't take care of Keto. Reason and Noah punished for trying to overthrow High. Keto will finally get brought down, though, and Thomas, Focus, they're looking to be the ones to actually have control. And no, it's Sky and Scroll in similar fashion, but Scroll, he's gonna be knocked. No one can get a footing here on Height.
The bouncy house of chaos. Sky now is left alone. Just a sliver of HP's gone down as well. Thomas falls. Hydro up top. They started with Height after the chaotic high ground retakes from who knows how many teams. Hydro has ended up once again looking to claim it, but Focus is doing what he can to overthrow. Hydro drops. He's out of builds. He does have the HP and shield advantage, but without any mats to play with, it's just making it that much more difficult.
But for all of those teams, we saw like 5 different duos send it. One of them got fully eliminated. The other 4 left in solo positions now. but Focus, somehow, some way, he's still up top. Medius and iDrop trying to see now if they can be the ones to truly overrule the high ground. And Focus as a solo, he'll have to give it up. He's forced to drop here. Medius trying to see what kind of refract he can pick up after the fact. iDrop want to send it downstairs. Cringe and Twy directly behind, but they're not going to be able to escape iDrop and Medius' vision. 6 eliminations already for Medius and iDrop. They knew that they needed a big pop-off performance here today, but Focus lurking. He could play spoiler here. Twy's looking up. He's not looking next to him. Focus just needs to get the opening shot here, but he's still lurking, crouching, crawling around these front side layers. And instead, the pre-existing build, the pickaxe is going to be revealed, but he can't withstand. A different player altogether has taken him down, but Cringe does lose his duo partner. iDrop and Medius looking to bring this one home. Just one more elimination. Just another set of 4 points to go to the count. Cringe trying to see what he can manifest here, but he's stuck inside the storm. He doesn't have a whole lot left to contend with here. Medius, though, with no iDrop, he's just gonna stay inside of zone. He knows only 2 builds remain. This is the time. Medius, he's done it once before, and he does it again. A victory royale to close things in game 11 for Medius and iDrop.
According to lane.
18th place is where iDrop and Marius were going into this match. They were just on the cutoff of qualifying to the Major 1 LAN, and they have now solidified a spot with the amount of points that they have just secured. I am almost sure that we will be seeing them in Dusseldorf. What a way to close out the second to last match of the day. Congratulations to iDrop and Marius. This is what we wanted to see from them. Rank 11 Mini, it's getting intense.
It really is. 100% agreed with you there, Takata. Marius and iDrop were 30th going into day 2. And they're another one of these experienced Euros who understand the importance of that fantastic performance on day 2. You're not done after day 1, Mini.
No, you're not, and it's really great to see these guys really rising up the standings. We've been talking a lot about Swizzy and Pixie today and how they've just been surging up the leaderboards, but Marius and iDrop, they've been quietly improving game in, game out, and this is really nice to see them finally pick up that well-deserved win right there. We saw it from Marius in the heat. We saw him solo clutching their way from about top 25 or something to make it here, and now still doing it in the major finals as well, getting that final shot to win 11. I'm really excited about these guys. I'm really excited to see them at LAN as well.
Yeah, I think these guys ultimately understand one key thing about Fortnite. All that matters is recency bias. As long as they end the day in a decent enough position, we can forget all the other 10, 11 games that happened. All that matters is where you end up. And the good thing for them is after that game, they will be in a much nicer position. And yeah, again, regardless of some of the troubles they have had over the course of today, all it is just learning lessons as they look to gear up for the Summit LAN, right? One of the more exciting parts of Summit LAN that I don't think we've really touched on is the fact that it's going to be like the first LAN we've ever had where the FNCS we just watched will be played on the same meta, right? And so the lessons they learn throughout this weekend will be incredibly valuable for them as they look towards the LAN.
Well, we are ready to take a short break, and when we come back, everything is on the line. It's the final game of the FNCS Europe Major 1 Finals.